Winston, welcome.
Hi.
You're located in Taipei, correct? Yeah.
Yes,
And Winston, you're a motorcycle designer. Is that a accurate description of what you do every day?
you could say that.
What how would you describe yourself in your job? Like what would you if you were writing your resume today, what would you put at the top of it?
Well, yeah, motorcycle designer, custom made anything, custom design anything, everything, kind of.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been working on bikes since I was 20, so that was 24 years ago, since I was in college, and then professionally, I've been doing for this is my 15th year since
15 years.
2010. Yes.
And you do your work is very broad ranging. So you work on uh choppers, street bikes, race bikes. How is it that so many of those different types of projects come through your door? And you're not specialized.
Well, I guess the one of the big difference between me and most of the bike builder is my background was industrial design. I actually got a master's degree in the industrial design. So I I never really call myself a builder per se. Designer is way more accurate. Uh, so uh, basically, I can do any type of design. I love all kinds of stuff. So I started with Harley Davidson, obviously, because like most people look at Harley Davidson as a custom base. So that's what I do most, even till today, it's the same. But for myself, I think I like anything that is cool, basically. I like cars, I like boats, I like yachts, whatever. But I think motorcycle is just something that is easier to work on, and it's very open canvas. So basically, if you take out the body work, you can pretty much build it into anything. Instead of like cars, well, of course you can rebuild a whole car, but it's not the same thing. It's just a way bigger project and way more complicated, and the other stuff is the same. So when I was in school, I actually one of my goals is to do like furniture designs, and I just realized that I think motorcycle is just cooler, and also it's kind of like easier to get more attention. Is that the right way to describe it? Kind of. So yeah, I just got into this motorcycle thing, and I realized that oh, I can actually do this, and I've been doing it ever since. And well, back to a question, how can I do like all this different direction? I think one of the things I always tell people when I do like speech, I actually last week I just did a speech at a school. So it's just one thing that I always say that if you like to do this, whatever you're doing, you want to study whatever you do like every day. So there's always young people ask me like how can I get to do what you do? It's basically it's easy if you can love it as much as I do. So I study all kinds of motorcycle online every day, whatever this guy did, whatever that guy did, or whatever manufacturer did, like which this manufacturer did this new bike, just came out, is so cool, it got this new feature, this new technology, or even all the way to like MotoGP. Like yesterday, Gasgas just launched their new MotoGP bike, which looked awesome with a new Red Bull logo on it, and all that stuff, like all the aspect. Even I don't understand it, but I love to look at it. And the more you look at it, the broader thing you look at within your range, I think it creates a knowledge base. So whenever you have a new project, you have a new direction, you got more open minded because in your like knowledge base, you already have a very wide range in it. It's a big, how to say that, library, so you can pick stuff from. So basically, that's how I do it.
Do you So besides bikes of various sorts and that range that you're talking about, do you have specific things that are outside influences that you like to look to that's like completely unrelated to draw some inspiration from?
Anything actually. I like anything mechanical, basically. I like to read like even science, like whatever, like new invention, new like a automatic system, all that kind of stuff is just so cool. Even most, like I think 99% of them I don't understand, but I just love to look at it.
Yeah.
But the more you look at it, the more even if you don't really understand it, but you kind of have a feel of like, oh, this is maybe it works this way, maybe. And the more you get interested in it, once you meet a guy that is in that field, he can explain it to you. So the more you, but if you are not interested in the first place, you're not going to meet that guy to explain it to you. So basically, that's it.
So when you're gonna start a build, are you breaking this down to a frame? Like, are you starting with a frame and putting every piece in place on top of that frame?
Yeah, because in Taiwan we have a very strict regulation about custom motorcycle. So every bike that is older than 5 years, we need to get through an annual inspection, which they basically compare your bike with the stock picture. So they will pick out, oh, this is different, that is different, but some is okay, some is not. So I always need to have the ability to put it back if I have to. It doesn't necessarily have to, but like I probably need to put back, for example, like headlight and tail light, exhaust pipe, that kind of stuff. It needs to be look like it's stock. So at first, it's actually if at first I feel like it's a limitation that oh I can't cut the frame or I can't build my own frame. But honestly, after several years, I love it so much. If you ask me now to build a freestyle bike, I don't even know what I do because I'm so used to the system that oh every time I look at a new bike, I look at it like it's a naked frame. It's like oh what can I do differently with the same frame over and over again? So I built so many Hardys. Well, I didn't count the separate the individual brands, but overall I built 70 something bikes with all the same. Most 99% is stock frame, and a lot of them are Hardys, only Softail and Sportster. I've been building the same frame over and over again, so I'm used to like redesign new thing with the same thing. And now the thing that's really interests me is once I there's one time I went to a bike show. I remember it's in Italy, and bringing one of my bike, and then an audience just came to me and pointed at bikes like, "Is that I don't even remember. Was that is that a Dyna? Yeah, it's a Dyna. Oh, I have a Dyna at home. Like, why is yours cooler? What did you do? And the fact that it's a stock frame, it creates a lot more conversation with the audience, which now I'm obsessed with it. I just feel like it's so interesting to do that compared to like freestyle bikes, like the ground up build that people build the whole frame, even build the engine. Those are super cool. That is like crazy amount of work. And I always feel those guys are genius. Like they're way better than me. But at the same time, I kind of feel like it's like when you go to the Louvre, you look at Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa is awesome, but you look at it, cool, and then you just turn around and go back home. There's nothing for you with Mona Lisa. There's nothing, no connection with it. But I want to build something that people look at it. It's like, oh, I got the same bike. He did this. He did that. I can talk to this guy. That kind of conversation just interests me so much. Yeah, now I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, so the constraints that are put on your work because of the local regulations, it actually makes your work more accessible to lots of different types of people. They can really identify with that bike because of the
Yeah.
type of parts you have to use.
Yeah, yeah, especially the frame. Once they recognize, oh, that's it, just that is actually start from the same bike as mine. It just creates a lot of talk about it, you know.
Where do you think that your drive for you enjoy those conversations? Do you see anywhere like early in your life where that sort of popped up, and may not have been aware of it at the time that that was a quality that you really enjoyed, but then when you look back on it, it's like, oh yeah, that was me.
Mm, uh, I would say that actually, when I grew up, I'm kind of I have a very low self-esteem, as most Asian kids do. So, so well, it's the way our parents parents us. But it's not a bad thing. But you kind of want to you need to earn your attention. You need to earn that, and with the low self-esteem, you need to feel good stuff. You need to do good things so people recognize you, and of course, everybody start more or less about that when you do custom motorcycle because let's face it, if you do custom motorcycle, it's for attention. Don't tell me it's for yourself. I never believe that. It's just bullshit. So, yeah, it's always about attention. It's always about I want to be different. I want to be unique. I want to be special. I want people to look at me. So the conversation that created from it is just the extension of the same thing. And also, if you do it as a business instead of a hobby, you need that conversation. You need to create more uh, interaction with your audience. I think that's very important for a business group to grow. At least that's for me. I know many builders are way more like artists than what I do. So they just do whatever they want, and those are super cool too. But it's not the way I want my business to run, basically.
Sure. What did you have? You said you started when you were 20 doing building bikes. What did you do before that? Were you interested in bikes? Did you ride? Like how did that happen for you?
Well, at 20, I got my first bike basically. That's my first motorcycle because one of my friend in school got one, and I think he put on like a custom handlebar and headlight, and I thought that is so cool. I want one. So I bought the exact same bike. I put on a handlebar, I put on a headlight, and then like I realized that that's not enough. I need more. I need to do more. So that bike actually became like a 3-year super long-term project. And it's kind of like my custom motorcycle 101. I tried on different tanks, tried on different this, different that, and a lot of ideas I thought is cool and I put it on. It's like, oh no, it looks like shit. So I redo it again and again because it's my own bike. And so it's kind of like, yeah, like I said, it's my custom motorcycle 101. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of, I even tried 2, 3 different style before I end up finalizing, oh, this is what it should look like and how to make it look balance, this and that. So yeah, it was a fun time. And I did it at the school workshop actually. I was in industrial design already, so we got a pretty nice workshop at school. So I do a lot of most of the work there. That was fun.
So when you're building a bike, do you have every single one of those details, every single one of those parts, like you're touching all of that, right? Like you're putting your hands on switches and all those surface details and the mechanics of it, right?
Yes. Yeah, I do everything. Well, not all of the time because now with the modern bike, there's a lot of stuff you don't want to touch, especially electrical and the computer stuff. It's so complicated, and I know nothing about it. I'm just a dumb designer. I do drawings, so I never understand that kind of stuff, and most of the time I rely on my friend's shop to help me final assembly the bike. So a lot of stuff when I have some idea, I even go through all my mechanic friends. It's like, oh, I have this idea. I want to do this. Is this doable? Does it make sense? Will it work? And I won't do it before they told me, ah, I think that will work. You know.
So what does your creative process look like now at the evolution that you're at, and how does that differ from when you started? Because I think a lot of people in our audience are involved in some sort of creative pursuit, whether it's like you, bike design, or we've obviously our background initially was graphic design, but we've got all sorts of different creatives, and I think that there's something that is really interesting about people's creative process, but also, when you were a young person and you think back to like the mistakes that you made or where you were super inefficient or insecure. Again, what is that process presently, and how has it evolved from the early days?
Well, I think the hardest part is to find your style per se, because uh, as a brand, I think one of the most important thing to do is your style. I think obviously you guys understand that quite well from your account and all that. So, but for motorcycle, there's always trial and error every time. But like I said in previous conversation, I think the more you study any kind of motorcycle, the more you look at any kind of motorcycle, the more you understand what might work and what might not. So you don't want to be like, how to say that, limit yourself. There's so many people like, I love classic, I like vintage, I like vintage barbers. So they only look at vintage barber. They only look at it. But like, I never understand. So like, for example, in Hardy, there's so many styles that's going on, like barbers and choppers or club style, bagger, this and that. There's so many styles that I don't like. I would never build it. That is style, like every time I look at it, it's like, oh, that's so bad. I'm not gonna do that. But I still look at it, especially when those ones are people like or even feature in magazine. I still study it, even I don't like it. It's like, oh, okay. So if one day I have to do it, how would I do it? Like baggers. Honestly, I don't like baggers. I like small bikes. I like bike that's easy to ride around the street. So I never want a bagger. But every time I see a bagger feature in a magazine or some custom website, I still look at it and I still read all the articles. Like, why do they think this is cool? What is the good feature that he did? So I think to open yourself to the stuff that you don't even like, that that it's like establishing the same database again and again, that to strengthen. So when you have the new idea, you already go through in your mind, like, would that work? Would that really works? So I think the more you do it, the better your imagination would be. So you got an idea, you got a very rough idea, it get quicker and quicker that you can imagine in your head, like, would that work? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you've really described from your early life on, you've described motorcycle design as a form of self-expression and a way you found to show your identity and connect with other people. And now what you're describing is a process of maturation that everybody goes through to open your tastes, to open your mind, to become comfortable with things that you're not comfortable with. And motorcycle design allowed you to do that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you can say that. And also because I think the most important thing to open that is you get to have so many ideas. Like like right now, I probably have like 8 or 10 different bike I want to build. I'm just waiting for the right guy with the right budget. you know. So there's so many times people ask me, do you ever come to like a writer's block or something? I said, no, I always have so many things I want to do. I'm just waiting for the money to make it happen. You know, if I have a lot of money laying around, I'm probably gonna build a lot more bikes. You know, there's so much stuff I want to do. It's so much thing. I mean, for me, it's not just about building bike. It's more about um, making my imagination real. You know, there's so much stuff you think about. It's like, oh, that must be so cool. And the more you think about it, the more you want to make it real. And once it became real and sitting in front of you, and it's as cool or even cooler than you imagine, I think that's for me is the most drive of what I do.
So do you get the same feeling from a Harley, a Ducati, a Husqvarna? Is it
Anything.
that same power every single time?
Yeah, anything. Like even smaller bike, I'm fine with that. You know, anything is cool. You know, I mean, anything could be cool, especially if it's your idea and it's done with your style and it's recognizable as yours. That there's so much satisfaction from that.
What's your local culture with bikes?
Well, to be honest, like in Taiwan, custom motorcycle is not very welcomed. It's not. We're a very big country about bikes, but mostly scooters and mostly for transportation. It's not for a hobby or it's not for recreational purposes. It's mostly just transportation. So a lot of people look at it as not for fun. It's like I have to have it. It's a need. It's not a I want. So a lot of laws and regulations are established based on that fact because we got so many scooters around. I don't know if you've seen the photo online. It's so famous. There's one bridge, the exit of a bridge. Every day during the rush hour, they call it a scooter waterfall. It's just crazy. You see like hundreds of scooters just came down the bridge exit like all at once. So in Taiwan, like I said, most people, especially your neighbors never look at custom bike as a cool thing. And that is one thing I like in recent years, I try to tell friends in the custom bike scene is like you need to think about your neighbors. You need to think about not just your friend, not just your biker friends. Of course, your biker friend will tell you what you do is cool, but if your neighbors hate you, then maybe it's not that cool, you know? So, especially in our country, when it's not so welcomed and we don't really have the culture because we don't have motorcycle bigger than 250 since 2007 or 6. I never remember the exact year. So it's a very short history. So we don't have like a family tradition that my grandpa used to ride bikes. My father used to ride bike. We don't have that. So the the stuff I do, I think probably 80% of our people don't even understand. But I always tell them that I always tell the people in the same scene. Actually, last year I even built my own show just to prove a point. So I always tell them that you need to think about your neighbor. You need to think about the people that don't ride bikes, don't even like bikes. Can they appreciate what you do? I think understand is too difficult. At least if they can appreciate it, if they can look at it as like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's all I ask for. Yeah, yeah. For them to understand is very very far and difficult. But if they can look at it, it's like, oh, what you do is nice. That's all I want. And that I think that's the first step of
How do,
yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
yeah,
Um,
sure.
how do you accomplish that personally? How do you bridge that gap?
Well, I think the what I try to do is like you probably can see on my Instagram account. I've been doing I've been working with like department stores. I try to show my bike in a more acceptable way, like more nicer indoor. I don't really celebrate like the biker culture. So you look at it as a design piece instead of, that's a biker thing. I don't understand that. I don't ride bikes. I don't care about bikes. So like my show in department store is super welcome. It's crazy. It's surprising even for myself. Like even like older lady came to me, oh, this is so cool. Like, what is this? Well, I built it. It's custom built. Oh, really? I think that's a big step for myself. And the problem about this culture thing is this it's very easy to get into a mindset that no, they don't understand. I don't care. We are cooler. They don't care. They are not cool. No, I don't want to get into this. I don't know how to call it, like a cool kid mentality. I'm not a cool kid. I want people to understand. I want people to appreciate it. So there's so many ways I want to do it with. Like I just said, last year I did my own custom bike show, and also I did it as a competition. I call it a Taiwan Championship. And in the show, I don't even have music. So I don't have vendors. I don't have anybody selling T-shirts or gloves or like, I don't know, grips or a seat. No, nothing. There's no selling. There's no music. There's no biker lifestyle. Nothing. So everybody that apply for the competition, they don't even need to build their booth. They don't need to do decoration. I do it very clean, very simple, just a black base, put your bike on, that's it. That's all you can do. And then the audience came in, you can actually look at the bike. You can actually look at the detail, look at the work they've done, and you can talk to the builders. That's what I want to do. That's one of the approach I try to, like I said, make your neighbors like you, make your neighbors understand and appreciate your work, because I don't know if you ride bikes much but bikers can be annoying, It's a very fascinating culture. I like a lot of it, but to be fair to most of the non-bikers, the stuff that bikers do could be really annoying or, not really welcoming. So, or even when they try to approach the cool kids, might not be welcoming them to get in. You're not in a circle. So I want to create something that anybody can look at it, everybody can appreciate it. So yeah, these are the steps I'm trying this year's. So I don't know what I'm gonna do next. We'll see.
Since you began taking this seriously, how long did it take you to start working on that outreach and start really prioritizing making your work accessible to people outside of biker culture? Like, how did you make that leap?
Well, at the very beginning, as you know, when you just start up, you don't know anybody. Nobody know you. You don't have you can't really talk to anybody because nobody will listen. So you need to have a what's the word? You have to have that status. So that's why I try to do better work. That's why I apply myself to the World Championship. So I got the World Champion of custom bike of custom Harley at 2013. That's actually only the third year of my career. I got the World Champion. So yeah, I came back. More people listened to me, and then I started to try to tell people that do understand or do listen, but it's not really working at the time. So I just keep doing. I just keep doing what I do. I don't have an exact time, but I think the most important thing is the COVID. I think for me, COVID actually benefit me a lot, because before COVID, I kind of just let myself through around the world, go to all different bike shows, and just like, yeah, I don't care. Just they don't understand. Just yeah, do whatever they want, and they don't understand what I do. Then I'll just keep being this international celebrity to show them what I do. But honestly, to look at it back from today, I think it's kind of like a escape. So you're not really how to say that, convoy, what's the word, convey your idea,
Conveying.
convey your idea to them. So the COVID lockdown, the 3 year that you're not allowed to fly actually got me thinking a lot. So I started to think about what I can do in my own country. I started to think about what I can do to help the other builders, the other like younger builders or struggling builder, how they can get more like media attention, this and that. So that's why the show, that's why the department store and all that stuff. I think that's the turning point for my mindset, I guess.
Yeah, so when you were starting your career, you achieved success in the outside world, really in a way that a lot of people in your home culture would be completely unaware of or may not appreciate or see any value in. And so you accomplished the bigger external goal early on, and then when you were faced with a serious challenge, you brought it back home and you learned to change your perspective, and you learned to grow in order to bring what you love to people who were close by you.
Yeah, I think the more you do it by yourself, the more you realize that if your own people don't appreciate it, you don't feel good. You don't feel really happy. No matter how much you like what you do, you still want to be appreciated by your people. So yeah, I think that's very important for me. And through these 3 years, through this couple shows and stuff, I kind of feel like I'm talking to like wider audience right now, and yeah, it's been working well, and I'm planning to do the show every 2 years, and the year in between, I'm gonna bring the bikes that got, I mean, top 5 or top 10, we'll see, to get to attend to other different shows as a sub show. So I want to show them that if you do good, if you do a good job, you will get something. That's what I learned back. I think at 2005, I got a scholarship to study in U.S. I was in Art Center College of Design, Pasadena. So, and at the time, I met Roland Sands, which is super big deal in custom motorcycle. But I think the most important lesson I learned when I was in US, I think the culture is, if you do really good, really cool, it creates audience. The audience creates marketing. The marketing creates value, and then it creates money. So that's the order I learned when I was US. And the same logic doesn't really apply here in Taiwan. So most of the builders, they started with ambition, want to do cool stuff. And then the more they do it, the more they kind of get into that low space that is like, as long as I get paid, I don't care. Because if you do good, nobody really recognizes it. Nobody really push you up and say, you are cool. Nobody do that. So if you're doing good and not doing good, it's not recognized. It's very easy to lose perspective and very easy to lose your ambition. That's why I do the show as a competition, and that's why I bring the top bikes to other stuff. Like I'm even talking to the tax-free shop of Taiwan. I might do a show in the airport. That would be super cool. I want them to understand if you do good stuff, and people will recognize it. I will recognize them. I will help them, you know, and then we will have the younger builders to have something to look forward to, other than just get paid, you know. If you just want to get paid, there's so many other ways to do it. Why do you even want to do a custom motorcycle? It's not easy to do, you know, and it's not easy to make money from it anyway.
Is this the only bike show in Taiwan?
There's another bike show. It's been more than a decade, and I stopped going to that one because that's exactly how I feel. If they do it more like a carnival than a bike show. So there's a lot going on. A lot of people selling stuff, a lot of people showing, a lot of like showgirls dancing, this and that. So the bike is not even the focus of the show. The people go there to buy gloves and get stickers, and they don't even focus on the bike. They don't even look at the crafts, and that's why I stopped going. It's like, no, I don't feel important. I don't even know what I'm doing there, and none of my customer came from that show anyway. So that's another reason I want to do my show, because I want to convey my the value I believe in custom motorcycle. When you do good, it needs to be recognized. It needs to show. Like, people need to know this is better, that is not. It's not like if you have more friends that more people will say you're cool, it's cool. No, it's not. If it's not cool, it's not cool, you know. If there's no standard, there's always going to be people that have more friends praising the guy when the stuff he do might not be actually really cool. You just get more friends. But that's why the competition is so important, and have the system to be very fair. It's the same system I learned from the World Championship I did 10 years ago. We don't have judges, because judges always have their favors. They always have their own style. So in the World Championship, every builder in the show are the judges. So you will get a sheet that you will put in your own top 10 by order, but you can't put yourself in. So it's a point system. So if I get one number one from you, I get like 25 points. I got one number two from you, and I got 20 points, that so on and so forth. So it's a point system. It's very fair. I think even if this guy got so many friends in the competition, it's not big enough to actually change the result. So that's a system I learned, and I did the same thing with my show, and it's the only way that they understand my value, and I think it works. And we'll see the second show with it. I'm hoping the quality to be better. I'm hoping they see some value from that, and they work harder for it.
So when is your next show?
Next year, around April-ish. I haven't booked the venue yet. But yeah, it was last year, April, so every 2 years.
And you take a lot of pride in this being Taiwanese bike design. Are you inviting people internationally, or is this a Taiwanese bike design show?
Well, for the show, I have a special guest from Japan. Well, they're all my friends. They're a super famous builder from Japan, and but I don't want them to be much influenced about the result. So even their votes are the same with any other builders. So they can't really change the result basically, but they get to do their own special pick. So I invited Custom Work Zone and Cherry's Company and Heiwa Motorcycle. So each of them have their own pick. And I specifically told them that your pick doesn't have to be the best. It just have to be your favorite. So I want more people to get more prizes as possible. So like I said, if you get appreciated, you feel that drive getting stronger in your heart. And that's what happens to me, you know. So I want them to give special price for all different bikes, and then the people get it. They just feel so much more about what they're gonna do next, you know. When you get the top price, like I did, I got the world champion 10 years ago, and the first question in my mind is like, oh, what am I gonna do next? How can I top that? What is my next goal? What's gonna be next? That's the most important thing for me. So I want them to feel not as big, it's not the world championship, but at least some of that. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, did you how did you feel the results of the show went? Like within the people that you knew, did you observe results?
Oh yeah, it's like a lot of young guys, a lot of young builders actually came to me actually the first day at the show. It was a 3-day show. The first day at the end of the day, it came to me, it's like, this is so good. This is so important. And it actually made them want to do more. And that's all I want. You know, there's always, it's funny that there's so many times I went to different country, and the other builder, when I told them about these ideas, they always ask me like, "Oh, you already you're king of Taiwan. Like, what do you want more?" It's like, no, it's not like that. You want everybody to get better. When you're in a very good environment, and then you drive to be the best, that is the best feeling. But if you don't want to be in a dull situation and you are the best, you don't feel that. So you want everybody to be really excited, everybody pushing, and then if you can still be the best, awesome. But if not the case, then I don't I don't feel good about it. So that's why I'm doing something about it.
And so do you feel that the culture and community that is surrounding you, do you feel like that's grown and gotten stronger?
Uh, it's only been a year, well, not even a year, so I won't say it's really stronger, but I definitely feel something happening, you know.
So you came from a background of design. Like what did your how did your family feel about your decision to go into motorcycles or design in general? Was it did they share the views of the Taiwanese community in general about that, or did you did they have a different take on it?
Well, my parents are very traditional Taiwan parents that they don't understand anything about cool, you know. They don't do anything cool. They never understand what cool means or why it's valuable. So they honestly, even till today, I don't think they really understand why I do what I do or why does it make sense. But I think fortunately, they still support me. They still support whatever I do. They just hope I do a good job, and they don't want me to get hurt. That's it. So yeah, they still support me really well, and it just they don't understand it, but it's okay.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's that you're talking about getting your neighbors to understand. It's like there's the people in your community, and if you can get them to understand, that's like level 1, and then level 2 is, can you get your neighbors to understand? And then the top level is like, if you can get your family to understand, that's like one of the biggest challenges in, a lot of creative pursuits.
Yeah, true. I think even go back to the business sense. I think if the more people appreciate this culture, the more possibility to get more business. That I think that still makes sense. Not just for not just for not just for feeling good.
Sure.
I think money wise is also makes sense.
Yeah.
Where do your orders come from?
Well, mostly still Taiwan. I get some orders from overseas here and there, but not that much because I think Taiwan is very far from anywhere, basically. So imagine, honestly, I don't know where you guys from. Where are you based in?
We're based in the U.S. We're not. Most people think we're like in New York or something, but we're actually in the state of Pennsylvania, about 8 hours from New York City.
Yeah, but like imagine if you saw me on Instagram or online or somewhere, oh, this guy Rockcraft Winston's so cool. His bike is so cool, and I want to buy from him. But you look at it, oh, he's from Taiwan. Would you place an order to Taiwan, or you find a local builder? Well, there are so many builders in U.S. and build something similar or like have a similar vibe. I'm not saying copying, but like not compared to actually go through the trouble to build a bike in Taiwan and then ship it over and then get it registered and all that trouble. I think it's very difficult. So yeah, I'm lately I've been thinking about how I can do that international order better. Yeah, I've been thinking about how maybe I can do it as like a remote build. So I test fit everything with the bike I have in Taiwan, and then maybe I ship all the pieces to, for example, Harley Davidson, Pennsylvania, and then they assemble it locally. So there's no crazy logistic and registration issue. So maybe that's something I'll work on in the future.
Would you consider yourself to be one of the only high-end Taiwanese builders, or are there other people sort of operating at a high level like you are?
Well, at my level, probably only me, but I definitely see a couple builders are doing better and better job. And then the only big difference is they don't really try to go out. They don't really try to go out to like an international level. Like like I said, most of them are still stuck in the mentality that if I can get paid, that's fine. That's good enough. But for me, that's never enough. I want to go to like a better, how to say that, better place. I want my build to be at a better standard, and that's why I like now I get to build for all I built for 5 or 6 different manufacturers already, and they show my bikes around the world. And I don't know. For me, it's never about money. Well, of course, it's about money. No, if anybody tell you it's not about money, he's lying. It's always about money, but it's not just about money. Like I said, if I just want to make money, there's so many other ways to do it. Building a motorcycle is definitely not an easy way to make money. That's because I love it. So one thing I never understand is if you start doing this because you like motorcycle, why do you always just want to get money to retire? That doesn't make sense. You just, for me, all my bills I want to lift myself to a better builder, better status, better whatever you call it, so I can do cooler stuff. I can do cooler builds. That's what I drive for.
How do you see yourself accomplishing that that continual growth, like moving forward? You've accomplished so much already.
I don't know, honestly. Just doing it step by step. Whatever is in front of me, I try to solve what is in front of me first, and then I think one of the good thing that I'm not a physical builder is I have a lot of time waiting. So, like for example, I go to fabricators. This guy is making my fuel tank. There's a lot of waiting game. I need to be there, make sure the lines are right, and at the time, my heads are I'll say that my heads are free. I get to think about what's next. What can I do? What can I do more? So compared to like the hands-on builders, there's many builder friends. Like one of my very best friend, Sosa Metalwork. He's in Vegas. He's amazing fabricator. I love the guy. And we just went to a test ride in LA a couple months ago, and we talked about that a lot. Is because he is hands-on building the metal all day. Like he don't really have much time to think about what's next. He don't have much time to think about like the bigger picture. He just like focusing on his task in hand. So this is my advantage as a designer, that I'm not hands-on and I never try to fake that I'm hands-on. So I got more freedom in my head. I'm not saying I'm free. I need to like run around different shops to make sure things happen, but I got more time to think about what I can do next. I think that's why I can push myself more.
Yeah, do you think you'll always live in Taiwan and build in Taiwan?
Yeah, I think so, because the way I do stuff is very difficult to do in any other country. So I talked to many builders around the world. I think I got the biggest advantage as a designer in Taiwan is because we are so good at OEM stuff. So basically the OEM system is doing me very good. Like within 30 minutes scooter ride, I get metal fabrication, laser cut, water jet, anodizing, powder coating, CNC, lathe, mill, basically anything within 30 minutes scooter ride. That's a luxury that nobody else has. And also the price is not too expensive in my country. So I think that's the only way I can do what I do as a designer, as a non-hands-on guy to do it. Otherwise, I don't know how I can do it. Like for example, in the US, like the labor is so expensive and also everything is so far away. You can't do so much in one day. If you need to like move from here to here to here all day, that doesn't make sense.
So you've talked a lot about you talked a lot about culture, you talked a lot about community, and you've talked a lot about artistry as in the world of power sports and motorcycles. Do you, when you look at your goals and your growth as an artist and a leader, do you see that community as like a really important goal for you going forward? Is that attached to your success?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Well,
Sorry.
so as you continue to run your shows, as
Yeah.
you continue to grow the culture of bikes and the artistry of bikes in Taiwan, is that important to you to define your success, or is it your success defined by your own accomplishments as a designer?
Well, honestly, I don't understand what is success to me. It's more like I just do what I do, but if I can do it cooler and better tomorrow, then I feel like I'm success today. So, like all the different genre, like the race bike or motorsport, custom motorcycle, vintage, modern, I don't think it. I think anything is possible. Like I work a lot, well, not a lot, but I try to reach, even for the racing community in Taiwan, it's very small, but some people keep doing it. Like I even help people to design the I would say that the vinyl, the graphic on their bikes. I even help people to do their helmet design, and it's like I think in Taiwan, this whole motorcycling community is already small enough. So if every part of it can all grow, we all benefit. There's no separation from anywhere. And I just feel good that when I see they get benefit from what I do and they get benefit from my design and they love what I do, then they help me some ways too. Like for example, when I build some bike that's more race driven, I got one of the best rider in Taiwan to ride the bike at the racetrack and get super cool photos. That's good enough for me. You know, I think, yeah, the definition of success, I never quite understand what means success. But like I said, I just wanted to do what I love to do, and if I can do it in a cooler way and a nicer way tomorrow, uh, I feel like it's success for me.
What's the thing you're most proud of in your career?
Oh, there's so many things to be proud of, but I think one of the highlight that I remember the most is I think 2017 or 18 I built a bike for Royal Enfield, and they sent a director from Australia to Taiwan to shoot the video of the bike, and he's such a cool guy, and he really listened to what I try to say and as a designer, not as a builder, because so many time when the director try to shoot a bike builder, they want to see sparks flying, they want to see you welding, they want to see you do this, but no, I'm not that guy. So I told him that I'm able to do what I do because of Taiwan, because of these people, because of this background. So I bring him to all these different shops. He actually shoot all the different shops to show the world this is how I operate, and I'm proud to be where I'm from, and I'm proud to be backed by all these people. And the video actually went to one of the European motorcycle film festival, which is awesome. For me, that's one of the proudest moment, and of course, the world champion is pretty good.
I imagine so. Do you so you've talked a bit about kind of developing and fostering the community in Taiwan. Do you have anybody that works directly with you that's like that's younger, say kind of like a mentorship or an internship at this point in your career?
No, there's so many young people ask me, can they do that? Can they do internship? Can they learn from me? And I always tell them that get the education first. If you want to do what I do as a designer, you need to get the education first because I can't teach you that. So, and A, you need to get the education. B, you need to love it as much as I do. Like I said, if you can wake up every day, open your phone or a computer, and you can get yourself to actually read all the different website or different magazine that all about motorcycle, all about the cool stuff, all about different style. If you can do that, maybe then you can come talk to me. Or maybe you don't need me at the time, you know.
Yeah.
Most people can't even do that. So, you know, I think that's the least they can do to learn from me. So if you can actually do that and then you still feel like you need to learn from me, then welcome. But nobody ever did that.
You've just revealed the secret for anybody that wants to work and learn from you.
Yeah, it's not a secret. I talk about that openly so many times. I think it's so easy. It's not easy, but
Sure.
it's simple. It's just not. It's very difficult, but it's simple. Yeah, it's a simple idea. You just do it every day. I love motorcycle, and I'm glad I have a couple of friends I can share motorcycle with. You know, it's important you have a couple of friends that they like the same thing, even they don't do the same thing. Like I got a couple of friends I talk about motorcycle a lot. So when I see this super cool build or super cool whatever, I'll show it to him. It's like, oh, this is cool. Like, what do you think? And then we talk about that. That is important. If you have a couple friends like that, hold on to it, and that will. I think any kind of design is the same thing. Like you guys with graphic design, if you have somebody you can talk about design, that helps so much. Even the guy doesn't necessarily need to be better or as good as long as he understand and the guy can talk to about it. That helps so much. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's like that extra brain to start bouncing things off of or interpret it differently than you might, and to help unlock places where you might be stuck.
Yeah. So if you can if you're able to do that every day and you still feel excited to talk about that every day, then you're good. I think.
Yeah.
Do you find many people who have your level of skill and devotion and who see the true artistry of what you do that can really understand the way you think about it and can help bounce your ideas off of?
Well, I won't say I do have, but I do have some friends that they like it as much as I do. They don't do the same job, but they have their own different job, but they love motorcycle as much as I do, and they understand different things. Like one of my best friend, he's his background is more mechanical. He's a mechanical engineer, so he give me feedback a lot different than what I imagine, even with the same topic. And we love motorcycle, and we watch GP all together all the time. So that that kind of friend always helps. So, but yeah, in the industry, I honestly I don't talk to other builders too much. Some of them even feel I'm super distanced from them. But after the show, they kind of feel like, oh, you're actually pretty approachable. I can talk to you. I say, yeah, I just so busy working on my stuff. I can't, you know, everybody do their own thing.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting opposition of for you because you don't necessarily talk to all of those other famous builders, but simultaneously because of your passion and interest, you're looking at what everybody else is doing, and so you're very strongly understanding what's happening in the community and the greater world of that.
Yeah, but in the industry, I do have some builder friends I talk to a lot. Even I don't see them much. Like, well, thanks to internet, it's so easy to chat with friends. I talk to other builders around the world like all the time, and we share what we're doing, and we share like even the build process or whatever they're doing, whatever I'm doing. I even like, oh, you got this cool customer, like you got this special customer and really interesting request, this and that. We talk a lot, and I love that. I think that's so important. And like every time I go to other country, I don't really do like tourist stuff. I don't go to any tourist place. The most I do is just visit builders. I just visit shops and that just and talk to builders. I think that's way more interesting than tourist spots. Like they always give me like new ideas, and sometimes they help me. Sometimes I help them. Like I go to Japan a lot. Of course, it's the closest to me, and there's so many master builders who was my idol when I was in school, and now are all my friends. And because they're all like more old school hands-on builders, so I help them to do some 3D design. I even help them to get some CNC shop in Taiwan to make parts. I feel really satisfied to do that also, and they and I feel good to be able to call these super master builder my friends. I think that I take pride in that too.
What do you think was there ever a moment where you look back and like this was a huge failure for me? Like where was the hardest part of all of that?
Well, I think failures happens every day. There's always failure every day. You just have to pick it up and move on. Pick it up, like try to overcome it. Like every day, there's always some failure here and there. And I think my biggest failure is I just love it too much. So even to today, people think I'm super big shot in the custom scene, but I still don't make much money actually because every time I got a bigger budget, I got overexcited and I put too much into it. So the profit is not that high anymore because my builds are I don't know how most builders operate, but I just have a set budget and I decide what I do. So if I do less, I make more money, but I always do more. So that's my biggest failure, but I think that's why I think that's because I just love it too much. Every time the customer offer a bigger budget, it's like, oh, that thing I wanted to do last time, I couldn't do it. Now I can do it. Yeah. And then you end up like spending more time, more money, more cost to make that happen. But the end result is so cool, so why not?
You're clearly so passionate about what you do. Do you ever struggle like balancing your personal life and your design life, or is it consuming to you?
Mm, yes and no, because I'm not a very how to say that, socializing person anyway. I never was, even before motorcycle. So even like people ask me like, what do you do for hobby? Fuck, I'm building motorcycle is my hobby. No, it's your job. No, it's not my job. My job is not building motorcycle. Building motorcycle is my hobby, and my job is those things I do to keep me building motorcycle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the show going, all this magazine photo shoot, and all those stuff that is actually tiring is my job. And I never look at building bike as my job. It's still my hobby. Like every time when it's finished, I still feel super excited, like I was 20. I think every day I feel fortunate I can keep this excitement for every build, and especially when I see some builders that has already lost that. You just look into their eyes, and they just don't have the drive anymore. They just want, it's like, yeah, I want to finish this. I want to, yeah, I'm waiting for the money to get me and this and that. I don't know. I feel sad when I see people like that. So yeah, I always feel lucky that every single build when it's finished, I'm always like, this is so cool. This is what I'm doing it, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, back to your question. Yeah, my personal life, yeah, it's pretty boring. I don't do much. Like I go to like coffee shop and just try to clear my head, and most of the time I still end up in my shop to draw new drawings and new parts, and just in a more relaxed way. That's like my weekends.
just now you were saying you can look around and see peers who lose their drive after a certain amount of time, and for you, how do you maintain that drive? Like, is it feeling your success and getting accomplishments? Is that what keeps your drive going?
I think so. I think the accomplishment, uh, in my mind, that does help a lot. Because if you're doing a really good job and you don't feel accomplished something, like why would you do it? Like if it doesn't make the difference. Once if you get paid, it's all the same. You need to have you need to feel accomplishment to have the drive to push yourself. Like I said, you need to understand. You need to know that if you do good, people will look at it. People will recognize it, and then if people don't, maybe you need to do something about it, and that's what I do. And that's a work part. That's not the job, the hobby part.
Winston, what's the hardest thing you've ever done in your life?
Hmm. Get a social life. I'm never good at that. No, not really. But for some reason, people think I'm a very socializing person because I go to all these different shows. I talk to all these different people, and I have a good connection all around the world. They feel like I'm a good socializing person, but that's all because I'm talking about what I love. But if I'm talking to someone that is not interested in what I do, or they don't even want to talk about it, then I'm like, I don't even know where to, you know, I don't know what to talk about. I'm not
That
a very talkative person.
Well, you've been phenomenal today. You've given us so many incredible things to think about, and your insight and your love for what you do is really, I find it motivating. As you're talking, I'm thinking about the way that I look at my own work, and I'm sure Brian did as well, and I'm sure everybody who listens to it is gonna have that reflection.
I hope
You
so.
you you talked about how earlier in your career you were in the outside world and you achieved this success in a overarching industry, and then in this difficult period you came back home and reflected on the inner world and you began working on the inner world of Taiwanese bike community and culture. I think that there's a reflection of that in your approach to your work, how so much of your effort and your attention and your life gets poured into being successful as a bike designer and building the network and the marketing and all those things that you have to put together. But the hardest thing you do is your inner world with your personal life and finding that place of who you are, not being this super passionate bike designer. And I think that's very profound, and I think it reflects well on you as a professional, and that kind of personal challenge is something that anybody can relate to.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's yeah, it's also one of I, the part of my very strong personality is I always have the feeling that if I don't do it, nobody else would, so I will. I always have that responsibility kind of, because it's like Uncle Ben said, the the greater the power, the greater responsibility. It's Spider-Man. I always feel that like that in Taiwan is because I am who I am and I am the only one got the world champion in Taiwan. So also I got all this connection over the years and yeah, like I said, if I don't do it, I don't think anybody else will. So I'll do it, you know. And if I fail, I fail. But so far it's been okay, I guess. So
Do you feel pressure from that responsibility?
yeah, yes, I do. And there's always pressure of what I do, whatever I do. I triple question myself all the time, and I'm always stressful. And but the once the result came out, once I can tell myself, yes, this is why you do it, then I'm okay.
Do you think that that stress and that triple questioning is that part of what makes you so good at what you do, or do you think it gets in your way sometimes?
I think it's good. It's good for me because I overthink about everything and anything, and but I think as a business, you want to do that. You want to question yourself. You want to make sure that you're going to the right direction. You don't want to go crazy. So it's funny that what like years before when I'm like they always feel like I'm very stubborn. I want to do this my way and my way only. I want everybody to understand my logic. They always feel like I'm like an artist or I'm like a stubborn, the bad guy or something. But and it's funny that the same guy that thought I was stubborn, and I think this couple of years, like some of those guys actually came to me and told me, I finally understand why you do what you do 10 years ago. And that's what get me to my place today. And they didn't listen. And I wish they did. But I'm not saying I'm correct, but I I just have my logic uh, from all the experience I have from US, from all different shows, from all over the world, Because once you live in Taiwan, I think for American people, it's very hard to understand that if you're born and raised in a very small island, there's a very big chance that you never go out of the island. And then the logic in the island is the only logic for you. But for me, that just doesn't make sense. There's so many times I hear people say, yeah, it's okay, it's good in Taiwan. We're in Taiwan. Come on, this is good enough. I hate that. Why can't you look at things, look at what you do in a more global scale? Whatever you do, like right now, people ask me like, what is your secret? Like what goes through your head like every time you do a new design? I mean, that's easy. You just look at all the biggest competition in the world, all the bike show in the world, all the coolest bike show in the world, all the idol of your craft, whatever you do. You just imagine you put your design in between those masters and you ask yourself, is it good enough? Will I feel ashamed? Or I will feel super proud to stand beside those masters. And that's the only question you need. So that's my secret.
Yeah, when you were describing your show, you said you wanted to pull a lot of the superficial aspects out of it, and you wanted to bring the merit of the bikes to the forefront and to people to look at the bikes and the craft and the artistry and the engineering. And that's the standard you hold yourself to as well. It sounds like you judge yourself by your own merit every time you do something.
Every
And
time.
yeah, and it doesn't matter what somebody's doing or what community they're a part of. There are going to be people who are uncomfortable with that. There are going
Yeah.
to be people who judge themselves by the superficial aspects and struggle to confront the true merit of what they're doing. And it's a critical part of getting better, is judging yourself harshly.
Yeah. You try to get yourself out of I would say that. You try to look at yourself as a global audience. I think that's how I feel. To judge yourself, to put your work in between all the masters, like all the guys that you look up to. You try to be, if not better, at least the same, And I think that's the key to what I do, the key to my design. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Winston, we've appreciated your time today so much. It's really you're an inspiring person. You really are, because you strive to be the best at something, and everybody needs to find that inside of themselves. I think, regardless of what they're doing, whether they think their job's important or they're a little part of a big process or a big organization, or whether there's somebody like you who's kind of out there on his own, being a leader and at the forefront of a industry and a culture. Everybody's got to look at themselves and they've got to find a way to motivate themselves to get better. And you've done that, and you help other people do that. And it's a really it's a wonderful thing to see.
There's one thing I always say that is, uh, I hope, well, if the guy listening is already in the business for long, that's a different game. But if there's something that is young, like if you're still in school, if you're trying to find your way, I always tell them that it's so important to find what you love to do. Always, it's so important to find something that you can actually think about, like every second you wake up, every second outside your sleep, you can think about the same thing over and over again, and you don't feel tired. Just do that, because that's what I asked myself after I graduate. I asked myself, what do I want to do? And yeah, I just imagine like so many career that is kind of like my options, what I could do. And just think about what I can actually think about every day, every second, and just do that. Otherwise, you just feel miserable. Like in my school, there's so many of my classmates. don't even do design right after school. Right after they get out of school, they just don't do anything design related. I'm like, why? So why don't you change your major at school, you know? Because when I got into college, my parents wasn't, like I said, they don't understand anything cool, which means design is not a option. So I actually got to do electrical engineering because of what they think is good. And I hate it. I hate it. And I almost got dropped out of school. And then the second year of my electrical engineering life, I was at school and I look at this professor, he's like 70 or 80 something, like very old, and he was staring at a uh I don't even know what it is. It's just a box with tons of switches. And I don't know, at that moment I look at it, I'm like, I don't want to be like that. So I just tell my parents that I can't do this anymore. I want to do design. I love design stuff. And I'm glad that my school actually got industrial design major, so I just switched. And I've been happily ever after. So, so I always feel the importance of doing what you like to do. That I think that that experience to switch from what you don't like to what you like uh, became such significant part of my life and become the whole part of my life. Actually, I think that make me emphasize. I can't emphasize this more. You know, that's so important. So anytime I go to school to do a speech, I always tell them that if you don't want to, if you hate what you do now, switch. Just nobody will stop you. Don't do it. You don't need it. You know, don't feel miserable. And once you love it so much, yeah, I think anything is easier that way or harder at the same time. Like I said, yeah, you could put yourself in a harder place just because you like it too much, but at least you're happy about it.
Yeah, you get to pick your hard that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically,
Yeah, what you're describing is finding passion. That thing that you daydream about, that thing that your imagination is, you get reward from, you get like a dopamine hit from imagining what it's like and exploring it in your mind. And I think a lot of particularly young people do really struggle with that, especially now where there's so much emphasis on having a big social media presence and being an influencer and a content creator. And I think that I see it a lot in GFDA that people, when you're young, you're always going to feel lost to a certain degree because you haven't really picked a path to go down. Everything's a crossroad. Everything's a decision with infinite possibility and all kinds of consequences. And I think that it can be there can be a lot of pressure that young people put on themselves to make something that they're gonna make a decision that they're locked into. But you put it really well that it's you got to look inside of yourself. You got to feel yourself. You got to listen to yourself. You have to pay attention to yourself. And that's even if it's not even if a person can't see something really specific, like I really love thinking about the way these parts of a motorcycle go together. I love the feeling. This is really cool. Even if they can't find something specific like that, you can pay attention to the way you think about things and the way you feel about things, and that can guide you towards looking at subjects that are where your passion lies. And I think that is really good advice that you give to people.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's like, well, from what you said, is one of the things I always tell is there's not, especially when you're young, there's not a certain path that you have to pick, but at least you know that kind of that direction that kind of is what I like. You can steer like kind of left and right a little bit, but at least you're going approach into the similar uh, direction. That's all they need. when you're young. So you can try all the different things. Like I said, I love design. When I was at school, I even do graffiti. I was pretty famous in Taiwan to do graffiti. I did painting for Adidas, for Puma, for N1, Anya Spain, like all these different brands. So, like I said, you can explore yourself in all the different things you like. So, I love drawing. I like painting. I do graffiti, but I like design. I like graphic design. I like industrial design. So I think when you're young, you're able to. I mean, it's best that you can explore as much as possible, as long as they're all kind of in the same direction. So I don't even know what I will be. I don't even know I'm gonna build motorcycle for my life, and I I started wanting to be an artist, to painting, and then I realized that it's kind of not my personality. It's too much. Um, uh, I don't know. I feel like I need something more solid. So I gave up. Well, I didn't give up. I still paint now. So, but I pick something I feel more solid. It's easier for my personality to explain. Motorcycle is way easier to explain than painting. So, so what I'm trying to say is, when if you're young, if you're still looking for your path, it's good to explore. It's good to try. Just try all different stuff you feel interested, and then you can decide later. It doesn't have to be a specific road you have to follow. I just like, well, I kind of like anything creative, painting, designing, this and that. I just try them all and then see how it feels, and then you can decide later, you know. And the good thing about that is if you try them all, it's also gonna benefit in the long run. So like right now, when I do the motorcycle, the industrial background got me able to design all the parts in 3D, and the graphic design I learned myself got me able to do all the graphic in my shop. I even like all the t-shirts. I design everything myself. I can do paintings for, well, just a lot of stuff. If you're exploring still within like me, I was within the creative world. All the stuff you tried will help you in the long run. So no matter what direction you go, you like, just explore the things that near it, around it. Just try as much as possible, and I think it all help you in the long run.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant insight. I think what you said is if you don't explore, you can't find the path, because if you're not exploring, you're pretty much just standing still, and you're never going to get anywhere by standing still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to be open. You have to be open to possibilities. You have to be open to the fact that you may wind up someplace that you can't foresee, and that the right connection or the right set of circumstances will come about outside of your control. And if you're open to it, then you'll be able to seize those opportunities.
Yeah, and also the if you didn't try it, you don't really know if you like it or not, if you enjoy it or not. Like I think that's also very important. You try to do it, you try to do it, and if you can try to do it with a little bit of payment, that also helps a lot, because you understand to do this with the customer instead of just I like it, I do it for myself. That's a whole different game. If you can do it with even just a small amount of payment, you do it for your friend, whatever, you got a customer that you're doing it for, that's a whole different idea. And then you can ask yourself, well, do I really like it? Do I really want to do it as a job? Yeah, that's something I tried myself, and I find it really helpful.
Yeah, that kind of connects back to where we started with the conversation when you were talking about your passion for working within the existing frame and how those limitations drive your process. And another component of that obviously is working with the customer and sort of what the things that they're interested in, and how can you balance all of those different limitations and responsibilities and still within that framework have your creativity.
Yeah, it's yeah, like I said, it's very important. But at the same time, it's the I'm sure if you've been following my work, you will see that all my builds are very recognizable rock crafts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it, to build a brand, it's so important to do something that is so recognizable. Even if you just cover the logo, you can instantly see it's my build. So that is very difficult at the very beginning because your customer won't give a shit about what you want because they don't know who you are. They just want to pay you and get what they want. And then the hardest part, well, back to the hardest decision. The hardest thing is to turn down those customers that can't accept it because you're just beginning and you don't have much money. You need to make money. You're struggling a lot, and then the customer came with money to offer, but he's asking for something that you never want to do. What do you do? So either you can convince him or you need to give up because otherwise you will have a portfolio that you don't even like. And then if you start to accepting all this different idea from the customer and not yours, and you become an OEM shop, you become to do what they want. But well, just by making money is no problem. But the problem is there's always going to be a younger shop that do it better, quicker, and cheaper than you. Then why do they need you anymore?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the branding is about, and that's also at the very beginning, like all the other builders or I already have the reputation in our industry, like the first year or the first 2 years, like Winston's such a badass. Like he don't even listen to customer. He never listen to anybody. He only do what he wants. And it's not like that. It's more like I understand like if you want to build a brand, you have to turn down things that it's not suit you. Because like I said, if you keep doing what they want and there's no your there's no your branding in it anymore. You just do what they want. But if you create something at the beginning, if you stick to what you want to do, and of course you have a little bit of input from the customer. Like right now, it became so easy for me. Like so many people ask, oh, so all your builds are like open canvas. Like how do you talk to your customer? It's actually very easy because they always came to me because they like my style. Because my style is so crystal clear, it's so easy to recognize. So it's like for right now, every customer came to me. They already love what I do. They just have to pick the direction, but not the style. The style is going to be rock rap all through and through. And I just need to ask them, oh, so do you want a hardy or you want like performance? You want chopper or you want a cafe racer? You want a higher handlebar? You want a lower handlebar? You like more aggressive riding or you like more relaxed? Okay, you can go. So yeah, so all the badassness, all the reputation from the beginning pays off right now. So now they came to me because they know what they're gonna get. So they actually told me, "Oh, you're not. Yeah, you're very easy actually. Yes, I am very easy. I just try to create my brand. That's it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's something very very difficult. I have to say it's especially at the beginning when you're still struggling the whole time. It's very hard to say no. But if you didn't say no, it will become harder and harder for you to say no later. And then and then one day you'll realize that you can't say no anymore, and that's a I think that's kind of sad actually.
Yeah, it's very complex, and particularly for somebody who's just starting out and who's hearing this, it's important to understand that you have to be able to back all this up with that passion and being good at what you do. Like you have to be able to do that.
Yes,
You don't have to start out being the best, and you're not going to, but you have to start out with confidence in the practice, confidence in the knowledge, confidence in the work that you've put into that place. You don't just start out being an asshole to people. Confidence has to come from someplace.
thank you
And
for complete that. I
yeah,
forgot that part.
well, when you were talking about how you started out as an artist, and it really made me think like, Brian and I we're both educators. Brian teaches martial arts, and we both taught design at the university level, and so we have a lot of experience with helping young people find their way and helping young people develop their strength. And one of the things that I saw a lot was young people will come into a creative field and they'll say, well, I'm not I can't, I don't have this natural talent. I didn't walk in day one with being the best at everything, knowing how to do everything. And they can be defeated in that way. And it's really important to understand that you can start with a very small amount of talent, but with a lot of work, you develop that talent into a skill, and
Yes,
that skill over time, like many years, that skill matures into mastery. It matures into true artistry if you're passionate about it and if you stick with it and you have that drive. And I think that what you've described the is the bank of time. And if you spend all of your creative career compromising, you're not spending that time developing your skill, developing your tastes, developing your style. You're not allowing those things to mature because all of your energy is going into satisfying someone else and satisfying someone else's vision. And you're gonna, if you're serious about what you're doing and you really feel that passion, you're gonna feel very defeated by that after a certain amount of time.
and burn out
Yeah.
very easily. So yeah, thank you for for pick that up because yeah, like I said at the beginning, it could be very stubborn and you could sounds like a badass, but I'm not saying you need to be an asshole to keep that. But the more important thing is the at the same time you're turning down customers, it's also the same time that you need to keep questioning myself, is your work good enough? Is your work good enough to, like I said, if you compare to the master in the field, like try to put yourself in between those and ask yourself, is it good enough? And is my work good enough? Yeah. Would I feel ashamed if I put alongside him? And if you can confidently say yes, then the customer that you turn down might come back in a couple of years. Who knows?
Yeah, there's if you know you can back it up, you can say just about anything in the right situation, but you definitely better be able to back it up or you're going to learn a
That's
serious
very
life lesson.
difficult. That's very difficult actually. But like I said, if you even if you're doing for yourself, if you can still keep that standard, then I don't think it's very difficult if you continuously question yourself, is it good enough? Is it okay? Yeah, that's something that also backed up by the wider knowledge library in your head. Like I said, yeah, the more you read, the more you look, your standard become better. And your judgment become better because you got way bigger database in your head. You understand what is good and what is not, and you can also judge yourself better. And then you can proudly say, I know my work is good. I'm not saying it's the best. I may not win, but I don't feel ashamed to put beside them. And the like I said, just keep looking at what you like whatever that is. Like even like I said, even the style you don't like, you want to study it. You want to study everything, and then you can get better judgment for yourself too.
Yeah, knowing what's good and what's not good, that's very subjective to put it in such simple terms. But what that's a description of is taste. And you have to develop your taste when, particularly when you're just starting out with anything and you don't have much knowledge about it, or when you're young and you frankly don't have much knowledge about a whole bunch of stuff. Um, Having the goal of refining your taste is really, really important to being good at something. Because you can't judge yourself and you can't judge those greats that you described. Like, you don't know what you're looking for. You don't know why your work could stand up to them or not stand up to them. And taste is one of those things that requires practice like anything else. And it's a really hard thing to teach people. I mean, you can't really teach people to have taste. It's something they've got to develop for themselves. They've got to be responsive to what they like and what they don't like, what they find to be cool and what they don't, and build upon that and grow and expand that vocabulary of creativity to until they can make those judgments the right way.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and also the the yeah, like you said, taste is so difficult, but I always feel like the easiest way to get better at that is just observe a lot. The more you look at it, the more you talk to people, the more you talk to and any chance you get, talk to the best people you can. Don't talk to the your friends. Well, like your friends always back you up. It's not always the best advice. You try to talk to the best areas, the best possible people, and that for me that helps so much. Like every year or every time, like I said, every time I go to Tokyo, I always visit Hot Dog, which is he is the oldest Harley Davidson custom shop in Japan. He's retiring, I think this year or next year. He's one of the oldest builder in Japan, but he's super passionate. I talk to him all the time, and sometimes it's just some random chatting about what you're doing, what I'm doing. That even that it helps. Even that it helps to. I can't even explain how that helped, but it just help you in many different way. Like even just imagine that guy. I forgot his age is like 70 something. He's still passionate about motorcycle. He still go to racetrack every couple months. He don't really try to be the fastest rider, but he just love to do it. And even that is inspiring for me. So yeah, it's as simple as that. Just observe and talk to people. And if you can do it as much as possible, I think that your taste will automatically develop.
Yeah, you have to familiarize yourself with what the greater world is doing in whatever pursuit, even as you don't. It's not like you're familiarizing yourself to copy it or to do the same thing, but it's just you're just feeding that bank of knowledge, that library, like you said earlier.
Well, if you copy that guy won't be your friend anymore.
Yeah, also that.
So you want to be friend with the master, you have to be good. So they you can feel proud to be their friend and they're proud to be your friend at the same time. That's I take like I said, I take pride in that so much, and to be able to do that, it takes a lot. And it's like you said, you need confidence of what you do, and your confidence is backed by your knowledge. It's backed by what you know. And then the more you know, the more confidence you know, and then it elevates your craft. And then you get to be friends with the best.
Yeah, there's a really fine line in skill development between taking advice from somebody who's attained mastery and learning under them, but then making your decision to break their styles and to challenge what they have established. And that's, in a lot of ways, that's your responsibility. If you're going to be really good at something and you're going to be a leader in whatever you're doing, there has to come a point where you have to make the decision to break away from what's been established by people, even people that you respect a lot and become friends with. You have to be able to do that, but you earn their respect. If you got the skill, you earn their respect.
I mean, if this guy's is as mastered as you think, they will bless you even when you break their establishment. I think like you learn from them, you talk to them, you try to pick something from their brain, and you can throw your idea to them. They even help you. I don't think they cares. I think the true master that I think the people that actually master in their craft uh, have more open hearts to other people doing it differently. You know, other than the half-ass guys, the half-ass guys are mostly more aggressive. It's like, no, you can't do this, you can do that. But if something got, if somebody actually got those experience and they've been established something of their themselves, I think those people are way more open to help you with your different approach or different things that even breaking what they believe because they've been in it and they've been mastering it. So once you have that, I think it opens a lot more to themselves also. So they are able to give you even better advice, even you're breaking what they had established.
Yeah, in at least in Japanese martial arts, I don't know if it necessarily transcends other aspects of creative culture in Japan. I suppose it does because I know that it applies to calligraphy. But there's the shuha-ri idea, which is essentially, I mean, you could write a whole book on it. So, but the basic idea is you follow the mold, you break the mold, and then you transcend the mold. And I think people that achieve mastery, whether they understand that directly or just intuitively, they've accomplished that, and so they're willing to encourage other people to kind of follow that same path, and that's where they can celebrate where they've perhaps taught somebody something and that person's done it differently or changed it in some capacity, because that's how everything moves forward.
I think we call it uh, in Chinese martial art, they have a saying that how to say that like 1 million ways go back to the same roots, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all with the same logic or same theory, which is do it in a kind of different way, in a different approach. So yeah, I don't think the breaking anybody's mold is it's a bad thing. There's always the same logic to it.
Yeah, and a lot of times you described the people who are going to try to impose their will upon you or try to keep you from breaking the rules or maybe keep you from rocking the boat if they're heavily invested in that establishment. And I think that a lot of times that's because they've reached their limits and
Yeah,
they're really insecure. And so they have to put their limit on everybody else so nobody will surpass them.
that happens a lot. But I always said that you need to be strong enough so they can't ignore you. Yeah,
Excellent advice.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's it's like I always remember that the I read in Jesse James,
Oh
uh
yeah,
not,
yeah.
not the band in the West Coast Chopper Jesse James. Yeah, what when I grew up loving motorcycle, he's one of my heroes. Of course, now I don't build choppers like that, but always remember one line I read in one of his book. He said, "I stick to my guns and I force everybody to change." Yeah, it's a little too aggressive, but it's something that I think I by the idea I like that. you need to be stronger and stronger, and so people can't ignore you, and and then you can decide how you want to approach them. And then, like I said, I have uh, the achievement that make me stronger than other builders in Taiwan, so I get the responsible to do something for them or with them, and that's exactly why I'm the only one be able to do that, because I have that achievement, and I'm the strongest for the regular people not to ignore.
There are a lot of ways for that strength to manifest. It doesn't have to be aggressive. You can be that quiet person. What matters is that you've put the work in, and that you've got a strong base of knowledge. You understand the history of what you do. You feel that passion. You think about what the possibilities are. You develop your skill. You've failed a lot. You've overcome failure a lot. When you start getting to that level, the strength is it's the strength is appreciable by anybody who understands what you're doing. And whether you're aggressive about it or not, your personality in a lot of ways. The rest of it's just a circumstance of what needs to get done, and who needs your help, and who you're competing against, and it'll all come out on its own one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah. I always say that uh, uh, if in a baseball I'm a pitcher, what's that called?
Pitcher,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I can only throw a fastball. I don't know how to do curveball. I don't know any of those. So if you're if the ball you throw is fouling, you need to throw faster. That's all I say. You need to throw faster. That's it. And if you're fast enough, you're good.
We're ending the end of the amount of time that we asked you for today. And again, so appreciative of the insight that you've given us on all your approach, and the way that you find success, and how you overcome the challenges that you face. Um, I'm going to offer you the opportunity to share any parting words of wisdom with the world that you would like, or if there's anything coming up. You've got your show coming up next year. It's still a little ways away, but if you want to, we can provide links, of course, in the usual places for anything that
Yeah, where can people find you and that kind of information?
Sure. Sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is Rough Crafts, you're mostly building for a Taiwanese audience, and your show is largely a Taiwanese bike show. Um, so if there are people internationally who are interested, I think that they're going to be a lot more interested now after seeing the way you do things. And so we hope that we're gonna help some people see the value in that, and see that
Yeah.
insight that they didn't
Well, like I
before.
said, I'm working on new ways to build bike for overseas customers, so we don't have to get through the stupid logistic issue. So yeah, just hit me up.
All right, everybody in the world, go buy Ducatis from Winston. Save your pennies. All right. All right. Well, Winston, thank you again so much for your time. We look forward to hearing from you again, and thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Winston.
you guys, and thank your account. I think you guys know I share it every day. I love that. It's like it's really pushing, driving. It's all about pushing and driving. That's so important. And thank you guys for doing this. And I love sharing. And anybody have any other question, just hit me on my page. I'm there all the time.
Yeah, we'll put your Instagram account in the links, and absolutely. All right. Take care, Winston.
All right. Thanks so
Take
much.
care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.